Now I can say good morning and welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. I'm delighted to know that we have Ira and Julia here this morning, who's going to kick us off with some music.
Woohoo!
Yay.
Take it away.
All right, and here is along with the line of being unbounded. I can see clearly now the rain has gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that have me blind. It's gonna be a a sunshiny day. It's gonna be a a sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain has gone. All of those bad feelings have disappeared. You are the rainbow I have been praying for. It's gonna be a a sunshiny day. It's gonna be a a sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies in your mind. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now the rain has gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a a sunshiny day. It's gonna be a a sunshiny day. It's gonna be a sunshiny day.
Woo! One of my favorites.
Yay.
It is a bright sunshiny day here.
Excellent. Here too.
Oh, good. Well, I would like to introduce Rob McGregor, who's our practitioner of the day. He's been the practitioner of the day a lot lately, but he does such a fabulous job. So,
I can wing it with the best of them.
you do a great job.
So, One Heart, One Mind practitioners are assigned which weeks we'll be doing this practitioner of the day gig, and I tend to request mine, but the requests happen before we know what the weekly topic is. Turns out Michelle's topic this morning is unbounded and unstoppable, as I think Ira mentioned. I'm not sure, but and it has to do with freeing ourselves of restraint with unlimited ability to move and take action. Now, that's a good topic, and right away I knew that I am absolutely the worst person to offer any thoughts on this subject. See, I met Michelle when she first came to San Diego in the early part of 2016. And at that time, I told her that my biggest problem was my to-do list, which had 350 items on it, all of them important, and I did not know how to deal with it. Um, Today, the list is much shorter, but only because I prioritized. I still have many deadlines hanging over me, so I'm anything but self-actualized. I used to think that my problem was insufficient time. Now I think I have icky feelings connected with doing certain tasks. So I'll get up in the morning and I'll look at my to-do list and I'll say, well, I can do that and I can do that, but I sure don't want to do that or that or that or that or that. Now, Esther Hicks and Abraham say that if you don't like if you don't feel like doing something, that's your emotional guidance system telling you that you should not do that thing. But I'm not sure that's right. If I only did my taxes when I felt like it, my home address would probably be some federal penitentiary someplace. So good thing we've got Michelle here, because I am, as I said, absolutely the last person to tell you how to be self-actualized. But for the last couple of days, I've been thinking about the topic of being unstoppable. I think I would like to be unstoppable. So I came up with a strategy, something to try to see if it would help. Jury's still out, but here's what I'm trying. I have a theory that any problem can be solved with meditation and prayer. In my experience, only the long-standing problems you've had for a long time take a lot more prayer work to eliminate than new novel problems. But I'm willing to put in the time. So I've noticed that most of the items on my list have to do with three areas. My home stuff, for instance, I got to fix a dishwasher. And my car stuff, for instance, I got to put in the research and get a new car. My body, for instance, I've got to ask my chiropractor why my neck has been sore for a while. And here's the new strategy. My daily prayer work has been taking 20 to 30 minutes every day. I'm now expanding it. Once I've completed my normal prayers, I turn to my to-do list and item by item, I declare each one to be easy and fun and completed. And here's the kicker. I'm to do this day in and day out every day. I have definitely found that declaring things to be true every single day seems to be a powerful way to pray. Now, praying always does something. Will this change in my daily routine be significantly life-changing? Could be. I'll have to get back to you on that. As I said, I've had this problem for a long time. Meantime, I want to hear what Michelle has to say. She's definitely more self-actualized than I, but I can pray. So I'm going to do just that. And if you'd like to join me, if you'd like to take the time to just sit back, close your eyes if you want, go within and feel with me the goodness of God, the warmth of God. Feel with me the love of God. Feel with me the potential that your life has right now, simply because we decide that it's there, simply because we decide that the answers are flowing to us, that the solutions are coming to us, that everything we need is in the works and grinding out and coming to our home, our place where we are, and we can absolutely bank on that. And so I say thank you, God, for the wonderful answers that we have here, for the wonderful situation that we have here at One Heart, One Mind Sunday service, that there is good here, that there is good music, good fellowship, good times, happy people, delightful circumstances. And I am knowing that the knowledge that we receive today is exactly what I need, exactly what you need. And it is, we are all at this point in time already so glad that we came. Thank you, God, for the goodness that we have. Thank you, God, for the goodness of the universe. It is wall to wall, floor to ceiling, perfection. Thank you, God. I release my word, and together we say, and so it is. All right. And now, per our tradition, Michelle, whoops, lost there it is. Bear with me just 1 second because I seem to have minimized my screen. I am saying that's going to do it. There we go. Okay. June's affirmation. I am happy and complete today and forever. Within me is that which is perfect and complete. It is the spirit of all life, truth, and action. I am happy in the certain knowledge of the inner light, for life is within me now. I am happy and complete. And that's from our founder, Ernest Holmes. All right. And I'll bet you it's always so good to hear from Ira and Julia, and they certainly make me smile, and probably everybody else too. So I'm turning it over to you guys.
Whew, well, that was great. Well, remember that, especially with the taxes. So that's excellent. So this is a song that can be a good Father's Day song. It's for all of us who have, whatever role you're particularly playing when you're in that moment with someone that you love and which you are put in the position of being a parent, being a father, and you rise to that occasion and you allow yourself to be needed and to follow through.
And I will add, parenting's not an easy thing. Parenting has, I think it's becoming increasingly difficult over these past years, especially. So it's not just an easy ride, and we know that there's more than one day to celebrate our parents, and I'm glad that today is that we're honoring fathers. And I'm going to really make a point of just honoring parents more often, because it isn't easy, and we witness that from afar. So we want to just say that we see you and acknowledge that.
It's so isolating to ride upon this cycle with the fear of being idle, with my anger on parade. And saying that I have no time, I limit my lucidity, become an addict to validity. I take myself out of my prime. I have time. I have time. If I step out of the story, then I get the chance to see there's a bigger picture here, something more for me. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted by what comes my way. I will fill my day with love, with love, with love. With love, with love, with love. Always justifying my existence, always chained to my reactions. In a moment of resistance, I might get some satisfaction. And saying that there's not enough, I'm holding on to scarcity, clinging to adversity as if I've got it rough. But I have enough. I am enough. If I step out of the story, then I get the chance to see there's a bigger picture here, something more than me. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted by what comes my way. I will fill my day with love, 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 with love. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted. I am here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted.
I am here, I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted. I am here, I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted with
I am
love,
here and I am
with
needed.
love, with
I will
love,
stand up and be greeted.
with love,
There and I am needed.
with
I will stand up and be greeted with love, 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 with love.
Oh, that was beautiful. You know, I've heard you sing this song before, but this is the first time I think I really listened to all the lyrics. Did you guys write this song?
We did, yeah.
It's lovely.
Thank
And
you.
and you're right. It's perfect for Father's Day. I'll stand up and be greeted, or I'm here and I am needed. I will stand up and be greeted. Every parent feels that should be their experience, you know.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's absolutely lovely.
thank you.
Oh, let's take a deep breath. Oh, I'm here and I am needed to give the Sunday message. so, so good morning, friends of One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And I always like to say, because I know we have people watch the replay, I always like to say that whether you're connecting in real time or replay, you're welcome here in this virtual space. And I'm just glad you're connecting. And of course, happy Father's Day, as we've been talking about, to all the biological fathers and to anyone who has ever fathered anything, four-legged, winged. It's, Father's Day fits right into our month's theme, which is holy boldness. And we've been talking about the fire from heaven, and it's the energy of the masculine, and we all, to some degree, father something. So it's time to celebrate, as Julia said earlier, it's really a time to celebrate all parents. And we're all parents in our own right. The energy of the masculine, the expression of God. You couple that with the divine feminine, and you really got something. you know and the divine masculine is all about our spiritual agency, our ability to participate with the presence and the movement of spirit within us and through us and as us. We are divine beings. And as today's talk suggests, Rob talked about our talk title today, Unbound and Unstoppable. We can feel that way simply because of our divine inheritance. Can you feel that? We are unbound and unstoppable in our oneness with the divine presence. And I feel that way most of the time. But I have to say, I don't know about you, but there are times when I don't feel so unbound and unstoppable. Sometimes, even when I sit in the thought that I am worthy of God's good, and I tell myself that God's good is infinitely available to me, I don't always have success in feeling that way and in demonstrating it in my life. So, what's up with that? Ernest Holmes, our founder, spoke often, and he spoke very eloquently. He wrote and spoke, and he did it very eloquently about this idea that we have spiritual agency within our oneness with God. On the very first page of the Science of Mind text, Holmes wrote this. And I didn't adjust the language for gender. Sorry, ladies. I like to do that because I think it's more inclusive, but this just didn't lend itself to that. So his quote is unaltered. To suppose that the creative intelligence of the universe would create man in bondage and leave him bound would be to dishonor the creative power which we call God. Yeah, Holmes is clearly telling us that God isn't something or someone, some personality, some entity sitting up in the sky, and that he just dropped us off here on planet Earth and said, okay, guys, you're on your own now. We are not separate from the divine presence. We are the divine presence. God is us, expressing and revealing itself as us. We share its creative nature. So if that's true, why doesn't it always seem that way? Well, in true Ernest Holmes style, he goes on. On page 37, he goes a little deeper to kind of help us understand the complexity of our divine creative nature. He wrote one of my favorite quotes. I know I've shared this one before because I really like it. He wrote, "We are bound because we are first free. The power that appears to bind us is the only power in the universe which can free us. This is why Jesus summed up his whole philosophy in this statement: it is done unto you as you believe. We are bound because we are first free," which kind of puts the onus right back on us, doesn't it? So it seems that it is all about our use of or our participation with this power that determines what we demonstrate. And if you're anything like me, you might be thinking, well, I thought I believed that God's good was available to me. I thought I believed in my wholeness, and then this happened, or that happened. Am I doing something wrong? Holmes does make it sound pretty simple. And it isn't really complicated, but it does involve more than just our passing conscious thoughts. I have to say that from my personal experience, creative law definitely works. I've seen it work in my life over and over again. I've seen it work in other people's lives over and over again. However, there are areas in my life where it doesn't seem to work quite as well, just as Rob was kind of talking about earlier, which for the past couple of decades has invited me to investigate more deeply. And I've discovered that participating with creative law is a little more involved than just watching the thoughts that pass through our conscious mind. Oh, that is definitely part of it, but creative law is more involved than, let's say, gravity. You drop a glass, gravity is going to make sure that it hits the floor. Creative law is a little bit more like the flow of electricity or Ohm's law. Electricity just flows along, but if there's a resistance in the flow, it stops. But fortunately for us as human beings, we can feel our way into participating with law. We're designed to co-create, to be co-creative participants with God and with God's law. Holmes was clear. Our thinking is the first step in this creative process. And he usually just called it the law. But I like creative process because it seems a little bit more definitive, but he called it the law. And sometimes I think I really wish I could just sit down with Holmes and have a conversation because I have some questions. Creative law doesn't seem to be absolute, as absolute as gravity. If it was, then whenever we thought anything, it would just appear. For instance, if I thought, oh, I think I might be getting in an accident. That would be my experience. And I'm super happy that is not true. We'd all be in trouble, right? We thought something and there it appeared. But there's another important ingredient to the creative process. And Holmes tells us that we demonstrate not just from our conscious thinking, what the thoughts that pass through our head. He tells us that we demonstrate from our subjective or unconscious mind, as well as our conscious thoughts. And our subjective or unconscious mind is where we can feel our way into what we want to demonstrate in our lives. On page 30, I was really into the science of mind book this week as I was preparing my talk, as you might be able to tell. Holmes wrote on page 30, and I'm going to just paraphrase here because his language can be a little cumbersome sometimes. But what he said was that within us and all around us, there's a creative field, which we call subjective. One is universal, or the subjective mind of God, the infinite potential and possibility of everything. And the other is individual, what we as human beings have individualized at our point of subjective mind, what we have come to believe, either consciously or unconsciously. But in reality, these minds are one. It's where we are connected to this allness. And here's where I think Holmes really helps us understand why law works differently for different people or in different situations. He says that there is one law in the universe. And he said where, I don't know exactly if this is the right word, but he said, and where we use it, I would say when or how we use it, it becomes our law because we individualize it. So what I hear him saying is that we're open or one with the subjective mind of God and all the potential and possibility that exists within this universal mind of God. But we filter it or individualize it according to the beliefs and the perceptions we hold within our own individual subjective mind. And I've kind of come to believe that that's held in our body because it's the pattern of, anyway. And our thoughts and our beliefs and our perceptions are either in alignment with the truth of God, the truth of the attributes of God, the truth that we have this benevolent, loving presence, or they're in alignment with our past experiences and the beliefs we've gathered from the world at large. So I hope I'm not getting too far into the weeds here, because I think this is really important. I've come to believe that it is our individualized thoughts and feelings which create this overall state of being. And that is what we demonstrate as our lives. We demonstrate who we are rather than just what conscious thoughts travel through our conscious mind. And how we feel is a great navigator for consciously choosing what we think and what we've come to believe, and that becomes our state of being, which the law filters through and becomes our experience. One of the many teachers that I have had was this woman that stands out for me. She was a practitioner extraordinaire. I took practitioner 2 from her, my second year of practitioner studies, so it was a long time ago. But her name was Doris Jones. And she used to say something that has always stuck with me. She said that we demonstrate the predominant color of our thoughts and our feelings, which become who we are. And she also said that our thoughts and our feelings must match, or to use a different term, we could say they must be coherent or in sync. Their vibrational energy must be the same. Doris said that we can affirm that we're abundant and prosperous all day long, but if there's something in our individual subjective mind that doesn't believe that, if there is resistance in the line, resistance to the flow of God's good or God's abundance, then we won't demonstrate it in our lives. The coherence of our thoughts and our feelings create a state of being that comes alive with the fire of God. And that's when the law catches fire. And that's why sometimes, and in some areas of my life, it doesn't feel like I have creative agency or the law is working as well. So I read in this little book called Mental Equivalence. It's by New Thought author Emmett Fox, which, I don't think he's around anymore, but he's well known. And he tells a story about a man who lived in the Middle Ages. And he was arrested and thrown in prison for some minor offense. And he was taken down these dark stairs of the castle by this big, ferocious looking jailer. And the door of the cell was open, and they throw him inside, and the door shut with a bang behind him. And there he was. And he just lay there in the dark dungeon for months. And then one day, he realized that if he didn't do something to escape, he was going to die in that cell. So he decided to, examine the door more closely. And he got up and he grabbed the handle and he turned it. And to his surprise and amazement, it opened. And what he discovered was that there had never been a lock on the door. He had never been locked in for months. He had been locked in only by his belief that he was locked in. We are bound because we are first free. And this is metaphorically true for us. When we believe that we're locked into our circumstances, when we believe that our past predicts our future, when we believe that the world around us is the source of our good, then we filter the law through these beliefs. We are bound because we are first free, because we are these individualized expressions of the one life. And I truly believe that we are here to live in alignment with the nature of God, not to live contrary to its nature. Every spiritual tradition tells us that God is peace and love and givingness and intelligence and order and wholeness. Holmes tells us that love leads the way and law makes the way possible. I was having a conversation with my brother Randy. It was a while ago, actually. And I said that I believed that we live in a benevolent universe, that we have a benevolent source, and that we are one with this source. And he said, yeah, but how do you know? And I asked him, where do you feel most at home? Do you feel at home when you're feeling love and joy and connection and oneness? Or do you feel at home when you're in anger and resentment and bitterness? And he said, oh, yeah, I see what you mean. I feel at home in love. It's where I want to live. And I said, that's because it's your nature. You are God. We are this benevolent presence. And so let's talk about what we can do to consciously live in alignment with this nature that is ours. How do we align our thoughts and our feelings to create a state of being to be who we already are in God, so that we can demonstrate the good that's available to us? Holmes and many New Thought teachers have said, and I have personally found this to be true, that it's all about where we decide to put our attention. Do we spend more time putting our attention on the outside world, our past experiences, what the media tells us, or do we put our attention on the consciousness that creates everything that's in the outside world? Do we put our focus on the wellspring of good that's available to us through our oneness with this subjective mind of God that Holmes talks about? Where do we put our attention? We create our patterns of thinking and feeling depending on where we focus our attention. What thoughts we focus on, that just travel through our cards. Where am I going to put my attention? Am I going to land on this? Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to get in an accident. Or do I land on the thought that all is well? And what feelings do I draw up in my body? Because my thoughts and my feelings become my state of being, who I am. And the more we focus on the thoughts and feelings we want to be the pattern of our thinking and feeling, the more coherent they become. And the more they create the energy and in the environment for their demonstration. if my head believes it and my subjective mind or my heart believes it, then we know we're onto something. I ran across this other story that I think is very illustrative of this idea. It's about Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, we all know who he is. He was the guy who spent 27 years in prison for standing against apartheid in South Africa. And he tells this story about his experience. He said that while he was in prison for 27 years, his three activities that he did over and over again were solitary confinement, hard labor, and investigation, which was really torture. And he had three jailers, and they were really the only people he saw for most of those 27 years. And he recalls that the first 17 years, he hated those three people. He hated those three jailers. And every brief encounter that they had, he said he was filled with hatred. But then something changed in about the 17th year of his imprisonment. He realized that this intense hate was so unhealthy for him. And it was unhealthy for the movement that he stood for, that he was in jail for. And he realized that if he spent the rest of his life in prison filled with this kind of hatred, then he would die from this hatred. And that he had to find a way through. And most importantly, he realized that to free his own people, he needed to free not only the oppressed, but the oppressors. That the oppressors were in a different kind of pain, a different kind of trauma, but it was just as horrendous as the oppressed. So he needed to unlock the hatred by finding a place in his own heart for his jailers, for these people that he had hated every day for 17 years. So he said that he spent the next year, the 17th year of his imprisonment, learning to love these men. And that by the end of that 17th year, he knew about their families, about their wives and their parents. He found a place in his heart for them, and he loved them. And Mandela recalls that that's when he began to really run the movement for freedom, when he became free. You know, it was in Mandela's release of that resistance to the power of love, that natural home where he belonged, the power of love and peace and compassion within him. That allowed him to become the powerful and effective leader that he was. It's a metaphysical law that we demonstrate who we are. He became in his thoughts and his feelings and his state of being exactly what he wanted to demonstrate in the world. He lived without resistance to the power and love, which we know is transformative. That's why Jesus told us to love our enemies as ourselves. He understood the law. So for us, we have a choice. We can wait around for financial wealth to come to us before we feel abundant. We can wait around for success to feel worthy. We can wait around until our bodies are these perfect human specimens to feel healthy and whole. We can wait around for our relationships to feel perfect, to feel loved. We can wait around for a mystical experience to feel awe. But we may be waiting for a very long time for all this to happen. This is the old model, the Newtonian model that says that we're separate from what it is we want to experience. You know, but as metaphysicians, we know there's a better way. We're one with the subjective mind of God. We are already one with what it is we want to demonstrate in our lives. This is the quantum model of reality, that consciousness is causal to all form and all experience. We know that the moment we feel worthy and abundant, we will generate our wealth. We know that the moment we feel gratitude and wholeness, our physical healing begins. We know that the moment we feel confident and empowered, we become successful. The moment we are in love with ourselves and in love with life, we create deep and loving relationships. the moment we are in awe of life in general, then we have these synchronistic and mystical experiences that just show up. When we go to the subjective mind of God that Holmes talks about, or we could call it the quantum field of infinite possibilities, and we resonate with the energy and the vibration of what we want to experience there, and sit in that until it becomes so familiar with us that it dominates our thoughts and our feelings and becomes the state of our being, then we demonstrate it in our lives. I know I'm being a little long-winded today, but one more thing, two more things I want to say. My personal experience has taught me that there are two ways to create a new pattern of thinking and feeling in a state of being. One is through quiet, contemplative spiritual practice. As Rob was saying earlier, meditation and prayer, so powerful. And remember that the word meditation means to become familiar with. It's in these quiet times that we become familiar with who we are in God. And we generate that energy within us over and over again. I often ask myself, how would an abundant person feel? Draw that up. How would a loved and worthy person feel? Draw that up. It's there already. How would a healthy and whole person feel? And I become familiar with the energy of this attribute of God that's already within me. And the other way is that I stay focused as I walk through my day, as I'm walking around just doing the business of life. I stay focused on the patterns, the new patterns that I want to create. And one of the ways I do that is I ask this question, who am I? Or more specifically, when I'm in some circumstance or event that may be throwing me off, I say, who am I in this experience? I am right now creating my response and creating the outcome. I stop myself and remind myself that I am free to bring up whatever is needed in this moment, in this circumstance, in this event. I am the unstoppable and unbound holy boldness and fire of God. We are empowered. You know who you are. Let's pray. I know that I am the allness of God. And as I am the allness of God, everyone on this call, in the realm of hearing my voice, is the allness of God. Everyone that walks on this planet is the allness of God. Every creature, every expression, we are all the fire and the life, the holy boldness of the divine itself. And so I speak my word for and about these entities, these loving people and things and animals that I share this experience with. And I know for myself and for them that there is an opening, there is a flow. And I choose the patterns of thinking, the vibrational feeling within me that create a state of being that is alive with the life of God. And I know that that is what expresses in my experience in every area of my life and in every area of the lives of all. There is peace. There is love. There is compassion. There is abundance. There is plenitude for all. And I'm so grateful for this. Just so stinking grateful. And I know that as my words are spoken, as I feel them, they catch the law on fire. And we have now done our work. We release it, we let it be, and together we say, and so it is. So it is. All right. Well, I hope that lit you up with the fire, the holy boldness of God. So, Lisa, are you doing the benediction too? Okay, sweetie. I will get up the.
There we go. Yes.
I will get this up.
Yes. So now is it, whoops,
Uh-oh.
the
Roll
wrong one first.
All right, I'll get the other one.
Yes, yes. Well, now it is. So from your unbounded sense of abundance and grace, it is now time to give to One Heart, One Mind. And as most people know, Venmo is a really good way to do that with ease. And you just do it at a home center. And otherwise, you could, if you prefer sending a check, the address is there on the screen.
All right. Now the other one.
Now the other one.
Now
So
it's time.
now it's time for us to say together, everything flows from the nature of God's good. We give and receive from this flow in gratitude and love. We rest in the infinite giving nature of spirit. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
So for announcements, we always have our Monday evening prayer group. This Tuesday, I sent out some readings. If you didn't get it, just pop me a text and I'll send it to you. Two short readings from a book by Julia Cameron, who's the Artist Way lady, and she wrote a book called what is it? God is No Laughing Matter. I think there's a little pre-title, but some people say that God is no laughing matter. So anyway, it's humorous and it's fun. And I wanted to keep it light and upbeat and airy this summer. Let's just play in the joy. So I sent those out and we'll just discuss them. What's your experience here? You know, we'll just have a lighthearted conversation. And last week we did a laughing meditation. That was a lot of fun. Let's see what else. Oh, not this Sunday, but next Sunday we will be online. But then in the afternoon, if you are in the geographical area at the community church in Poway, it's in the e-newsletter if you need that. Point, the Poway Interfaith team is doing a discussion panel group on how does your faith tradition believe that we express the presence of the divine in our lives, or something along that line. Anyway, we have 5 speakers. We have a sick woman, a man. We have a Jewish rabbi, but she's a woman. We have an imam. We have a progressive Christian minister, and me. And we're gonna speak to that theme, and then we're going to have a discussion. We're going to break up in small groups and have a discussion. So it should be fun. And there will be food as per usual. And it's from 4 o'clock to 6:30. So it's later in the Sunday afternoon, but not so late that, not so late. So then on July 7th, we are having our collaborative Sunday service with Om Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa with Reverend Suzette, and Rob's going to be one of the practitioners there. And we did that last time, and it was really a lot of fun. So I invite you to come to that. And I'm gonna pick up Lisa, and we're gonna go down. So that should be a lot of fun. And I can't think of anything else right now. So I guess that's it. So then I'm going to come back to you, Lisa, for the benediction, and then we'll have some more music from Ira and Julia.
Okay. So it's been a wonderful talk, Michelle, and something for us to really take with us. And so anyway, let's draw together in a moment of prayer with grateful thankings for the possibility to be together and to have this connection, both on Facebook and in any way that you are connecting, because it's so valuable to have a community that can celebrate the spirit within and continue to emphasize how we can make it an increasingly joyful part of our everyday life. And so I also want to, what is the word I want to say? I guess, bless Father's Day and hope that everyone is celebrating their fathers, whether living or passed on. And also all of the masculine energy or men in our lives who have been nurturing presences to us. It's a good day to celebrate, as Michelle said, that divine masculine that is such an important part of the working of our lives and the world. And so I'm so grateful that we're all together and have had the chance to spend this time together. And I know that we go forth in joy to celebrate the rest of the day and the coming week. And so I release my word, knowing it is done, and we release it together by saying, and so it is.
Beautiful, Lisa. Thank you.
And so it is. Yes, indeed. And so we're opening the well springs of our being and opening to our unbounded state. Each one of us can become a possibility for peace in the society that we hope to see much more equal and loving place of diversity and freedom.
Well, this is a lovely song that's going to also an additional shout out to Juneteenth, the people that we're celebrating, and Pride Month as well. So we take all of that empowerment, all of that incredible individuality, all of that beauty, and we hope that you will sing along with us.
Lift every voice and sing, let earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. Keep us forever on the path, we pray. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let the rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound louder as the rolling sea.
Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you for that. Well, thank you all for being here. I'm going to say goodbye to our Facebook friends and end our recording. Thank you for being here. And